Good afternoon, everybody. What is going on? I am Jeffgrantmedia. In today's real user review, we're going to be taking a look at the Oveja Negra Portero, or the Black Sheep Goalkeeper. Now, I know very little about soccer. Okay, I know absolutely nothing about soccer. So I have no idea what the affiliation between this pack and a goalkeeper is, but yeah, that's just what it's called. Now, to get this out of the way right up top, I am not affiliated with Oveja Negra in any way, shape, or form. In fact, this bag, it's not even mine. It's a loaner bag by the one, the only Mr. Brian Payne. He let me borrow this because I have been questioning and searching for a backpack to wear for cycle commuting. He had this, he recommended this to me, and since we only live about an hour or two apart from each other, he shot this up in the mail for me to give a test. So Oveja Negra is not going to see any of this content prior to publication. They, if they want to see it, will see it exactly when everybody else does, and I'm not being paid to say anything positive or negative about this bag. Now, let's get that spec rundown out of the way. The Portero comes in at $165 USD. It is available in Coyote Brown, Blackout, MCB, Purple in Multicam Tropic, and Teal in Coyote. And I'm not gonna lie, that Teal and Coyote is a pretty sweet colorway. The bag ranges from 16 to 22 liters. This is because of the expandable roll top. It features one front zipper pocket, two side stash pockets, mil-spec Cordura webbing, mil-spec Nexus hardware, a reflective logo, and the bag comes in at about 19 ounces. And now what you've come here to see, the meat of it, the real user review. And as always, we're gonna start with the negatives, neutrals, and then go to the positives before we wrap it all up with the final summation and my loadout and usage of the pack. And the first negative being the shoulder straps. These straps right here, they tend to ride quite high when you're actually using it on a bike. But for that, let's go ahead and cut to Jeff in the field.
Portero, I will say, with just this Patagonia Nano Puff and a sweatshirt, it is much more comfortable to ride on the bike. It did feel quite tight leaning forward. When I had on a shell jacket the other day, it was a little colder, a little windier. Sorry, I'm booking it. I dropped my car off to get inspected, so I'm running late for work, so I'm trying to pedal quickly. But I'm also on an abandoned bridge, not abandoned, a closed bridge. Technically, I'm not even supposed to be on here on my bike, but someone knocked down the barricade, so here I am. But with my Apricot Adventure 2.0, the straps up top here were really tight leaning forward. Walking around with it on, with that jacket on, completely fine. On the bike, it was quite tight and a bit uncomfortable. But with the hoodie and the Patagonia, which is thinner, it's a lot more comfortable. It's still tight, but this is a lot more comfortable than with the thicker jacket. So if you're going to be cycling in the winter with this jacket on and you're wearing a thicker jacket, it's not gonna be very comfortable. They even loosened the straps, which did help, but it was still ultimately uncomfortable. I was not enjoying the carry on the bike with a little bit thicker jacket. Off the bike, completely fine with the jacket on, totally comfortable. But on the bike, it was not the most comfortable.
And I think that's all because of the spacing right here. It's pretty narrow, and it kind of just tightens up around the neck and the top of the shoulders. So when you're on the bike and you're up, you're kind of flexing your deltoid muscles, your neck muscles, I forget what they're called. So you're kind of flexing it and even pushing it a little bit higher up on the neck, and therefore kind of making the bag ride even higher. But if you're just EDCing it and walking, this, even though it is a little narrower, it doesn't seem to bother you as much, and the shoulder straps are fine and they're quite comfortable in just about every way. I wore it over a sweatshirt, a jacket, or a heavier jacket. Negative number 2, this front pocket right here. There is no organization inside this pocket. As you can see, I have my sardine tin and my EPX 400 pocketbook slim, but it's just a pocket. I do really like this high-vis green interior. That's really nice, but if there were maybe some liner pockets or stash pockets on the side, I could say take this, slide it into one, maybe put a pen in the other, like just a little bit of an admin panel in here would be great. Stash these in here. I could put my cell phone in here while I'm on the bike. It would make that a little bit easier so I don't have that bulk in my pocket while I'm pedaling. So just having a little bit of organization in here would just make this bag so much better. But it is fairly decent. There is a little bit of room in here. The other downside for this front pocket is it doesn't have quite enough of its own three-dimensional space, so when I throw just these two things in here and then I load this out, it does get quite tight inside this pocket as well. And that's really it for the negatives. The shoulder strap, it's a pretty big one, and it might be a deal breaker, especially if you were going to use this bag on the bike. I don't think ultimately it's going to work out for you, but as an EDC, so far it's been working just fine for me. But we're going to go ahead and go into the neutral points. In this one, it isn't so much a neutral point about this bag. It's actually about every single roll top pack. It's just, it's a little difficult to access everything at the bottom of the bag because you just have this big tube. Now you do have the high-vis green in there, which it is a little bit brighter than you can see looking down through the camera lens because this bag itself is a dark MCB, so that is also keeping some of the light from coming through the bag and being shown inside. So I could see in here a little bit better than you can, but ultimately the roll top does make access to the bottom of the bag and the contents a little more difficult. And that's not a design flaw of the Portero, that's just every single roll top pack. But the one thing I will say is that the Portero is a nice tube. It does give you a little bit better access than a lot of the roll tops that I've used in the past. The way I see it, there's generally 3 different roll tops. There is the one you see here, which is essentially a straight tube that goes right down. It gives you fairly decent access. You can still get everything inside. You can still see inside pretty good. Then there is the better one that actually comes up and it flares out a little bit, so you can kind of open it up, maybe even tuck it and roll the roll top down so you can see inside and really get access. And then there is the worst kind that actually has like a cuff around the top, so like where the bag would stop around the top of the shoulder straps. Sometimes there's like a seam or a cuff, or it just tapers in right there, and then the bag is really difficult to access on the inside. So the Portero is actually, it's right in the middle, it's just a straight tube, so you can still access it, and it does have that high-vis interior, so it does make it a little bit better. And the one other caveat about the Portero is that it has this plastic piece here, and what that does, it makes rolling the bag actually quite easy, so you get a nice even roll. The fabric's not bunching up on one side, so it makes actually rolling and closing the pack a lot easier. So it's a neutral point because it's just, that's just the way it is with roll top packs. But you know, it's just something you have to expect if you're getting any roll top bag. And the next neutral point are these water bottle pockets right here, or as Oveja Negra is calling them, the stash pockets. You can't fit a ton in there. I've been keeping things like my first aid kit in here, or my gloves in here when I get to the office and get off the bike. Now you cannot fit a larger water bottle in here, and they do push towards the inside of the bag, taking up internal space. And I've been using things like a Camelback chute or a hydro flask in here, and they fit okay. They don't take up too much of that internal room, and because you can use these compression straps to help tighten it down, I have not had any issues with the water bottle falling out, but they are quite snug, so you can't fit larger water bottles. And I believe there are definitely more of a stash pocket, as Oveja Negra is calling them, as opposed to a water bottle pocket, because I've kind of just been stashing some small stuff in there. And that's it for my neutral points. So let's go ahead and start with the positives. The first being this very simple design. There's not much to the bag. There's not much that can go wrong. There's not much that you can lose in here. It's a very simple roll top design bag with your 2 stash pockets and then your 1 front pocket and your hydration or laptop tablet sleeve on the inside. There's no admin panel to it. All of the components are very high grade. You have mil-spec webbing, you have mil-spec hardware on both the cinch straps and the closure, and then you also have some Velcro on the top to help keep the roll top secured closed. And it's a very basic, simple design. You do have a little bit of looping on your straps, so you can add a sternum strap if you need to. The back panel itself is basic. You have a little bit of channeling for sweat. I didn't personally sweat a lot with this bag because it's still the fall, so I haven't used this in the warmer weather. But I think if I were to be bike commuting with this pack, or really any other pack, it doesn't matter how well ventilated the bag is. I'm a sweater, I'm gonna sweat this bag. And a nice size grab handle that you can easily fit a hero clip on. So it's a basic, simple, but effective design, and I really like that. I like the overall look of the pack, and the way it functions, even with the negatives and the neutral points, it still functions pretty well as a quick grab and go bag. Nextly, it is a roll top, so it is expandable. So you can fit a lot more into this bag, and it's also got 4 compression straps, 2 on each side, so you can really condense this bag down if you need to. I can really cinch this up, because right now I have my basic EDC in this bag, and I can really cinch this thing down if I want to and make it a fairly small pack. So I'm definitely in that 16 liter zone right here with how I had this whole bag compressed down. And it's comfortable to carry like this. I have, again, my basic EDC is in here right now. So it's comfortable to carry, and I can cinch it down, which is great for when you are on the bike, because then you don't have all that extra fabric kind of flapping around in the breeze. And the next positive is that it is actually a very, very comfortable EDC pack off the bike. So this narrow gap here, it's not an issue really at all when I was just EDCing this, walking around with it, car carrying it, walking from the car to the office building. I had no issues with that at all. And that's gonna lead me into the next, which is actually, this thing is very, very, I don't wanna call it waterproof, because I'm sure, I don't think it's seam seal or anything, but it's very, very water resistant. Now, Brian did say that he walked quite a distance with this pack in a downpour with his laptop inside, and everything stayed completely dry. Me personally, it's pouring right now. It has been pouring all day. I walked to and from the car, and because I'm in the new building, there's actually people there, and it's a bigger parking lot, and I had to hoof it a much longer distance that I have been walking from the car to the office, and I got pretty soaked, and I was definitely not at the wetting out stage, but everything inside the bag stayed dry. The water just beat it up on the pack and brushed right off. I had no issues. Again, it just beat it, brushed off. It was perfectly fine. But Brian had this in a downpour, and this bag, this exact same bag, this is his pack, and he said it didn't wet out at all. So it's going to be very, very water resistant. And the last positive is going to be this killer teal and coyote colorway. Okay, this is more of a personal preference, but I love this color. I really, really like multicam black, and I love this color as well. But if I do purchase one of these on my own, I don't know, it's gonna be a toss up. I might have to wait for that teal and coyote to come back in stock, because that is just such an awesome color. I love it. I don't know why, I just absolutely love that colorway. Now, my intended purpose for this when I was borrowing this pack was as a cycle commuter pack. It's not the best bag on the bike, but because it's expandable and it's a simple design, my loadout is just basically my admin pouch, a book, a notebook, my sardine tin, my EPX 400 Pocketbook Slim, my toolkit, my first aid kit, and then throw in a packable lunchbox. And it all fit in there just fine. And this is the same carry that I generally have been EDCing with this pack. And then my second loadout is pretty much that exact same thing, but we add in a Fire Tablet 10 and then a little tech kit that has a backup hard drive and the charging cable for the Kindle. So what do I think about the Portero? Do I think it's worth it? I mean, it's a good price point at $165. It's pretty reasonable. It's a very quality pack. It's definitely worth it as a carrying EDC. I would definitely walk around with this bag. I really like the price point again. I think it's very fitting for the build specs, the quality, how comfortable it is. It is actually quite comfortable, and you're just EDCing it. For on the bike, I would not recommend this bag. If you're buying this to be a cycle commuter, it's not very comfortable on the bike. Obviously, the heavier jacket you wear, the more it's gonna pinch you up top. So if I was cycling in the summer in just a t-shirt, it would maybe be a little bit better, but I'm sure still just that motion, because it's got that narrow and the motion of being up, it's still gonna ride high and be uncomfortable. So as an EDC pack, it's really great. I was very, very happy with it. As a bag on the bike, as a cycle commuting pack, I think it failed. It just wasn't comfortable on the bike. But it's such a great, simple pack for a grab and go. You can just grab this, throw your stuff in it, head out the door, and be completely fine for the day. And it's expandable because it's roll top for any of those incidentals that you might pick up on the way while you're in your travels. Also, it's got some pretty good color options. You're not just got your standard like black and brown or navy or green. You have your MCB, you have your purple and tropic multicam, which is pretty cool. And of course, as I've already said, that teal and coyote colorway is just awesome. So ultimately, if you're going to buy this for the bike, I'm gonna say don't pass on this, move on to something else. If you're just buying this because you like the bag or you need a good EDC, I think it's gonna be a really good smaller EDC. It's been great for me. I've found it very comfortable. So personally, I don't think I'm gonna buy this bag just because I'm currently looking for that cycle commuting bag, and this just didn't feel that niche for me. Other than that, if I needed an EDC pack, I would probably jump all over this because the pack itself, again, I really like it. It was really comfortable just wearing it and walking around with it. So it's a great pack, just not for me because I was looking for a cycle commuting backpack. So final summation is not good for the bike, good for just about everything else. If you want to buy it for a cycle bag, don't. If you want to buy it for an EDC, do. So if you like this video or any of my other videos, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Smash that big red button and ring that bell right next to it so you get notifications next time I post a brand new video. Good night.